With a total population of over 7 billion people, it's hard to imagine that any place in the world could be abandoned, and yet they exist, each one with an eerie past and an uncertain future. Here are the tales of 10 abandoned places and how they became to be deserted. Do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more informative videos like these. Number 1. IM Cooling Tower, Belgium. The IM Cooling Tower was built in 1921 in the Mansour-Sambre suburb in Charleroi, Belgium. When construction was completed, the power plant immediately became one of the largest coal-powered fire plants in Belgium. In the interwar period, the new power plant helped the rapid development of the Belgium industry. The IM power station was owned by Electrabel, which produced electricity and heat, providing electricity and natural gas to 6 million people. By 1977, the power plant was considered the primary source of energy for the Charleroi area. During its use, the tower cooled the incoming hot water with help of wind. The wind entered through a hole in the bottom of the tower and rose up, cooling the hot water. By the 1970s, the owner of the power plant decided to switch to using gas. For this, the power plant was re-equipped. The total capacity of the power plant was approximately 1 gigawatt. For this reason, it was unofficially dubbed the Gigawatt Power Plant. A while later, a report came out showing that this power plant accounted for 10% of all CO2 emissions in Belgium. In 2006, the charity generated enough negative publicity against the power plant that it was recognized as both dangerous and non-convertible. In 2007, all work ceased and the plant was closed. The power plant is still in an abandoned state today and should be demolished. However, until it is, the plant will likely remain one of the most popular places for urban researchers and photographers due to its fascinating dystopian nature. Since metal thieves gutted this place from the inside out, security guards patrol the area. At present, the future of the power plant is unknown. A decision was made in 2006 to demolish it, yet it still stands. It is possible that the structure was left in recognition of the fact over the years the power plant has brought a lot of benefits to Belgium. Number 2. Colemans Cape, Namibia. Colemans Cape is a ghost town in southern Namibia, 10 kilometers inland from the port town of Lüderitz. It was named after a transport driver named Johnny Coleman, who was abandoned during a sand. Once a small but very rich mining village, it is now a tourist destination run by the joint firm Nabia De Beers. In 1908, the worker Zacharias Luala found a diamond while working in this area and showed it to his supervisor, the German railway inspector, August Stoch. Realizing the area was rich in diamonds, German miners began settlement, and soon after the German Empire, they declared a large area as Sperrgebiet. Driven by the enormous wealth of the first diamond miners, the residents built the village in the architectural style of a German town, with amenities and institutions, including a hospital, ballroom, power station, school, skittle alley, theater, sport hall, casino, ice factory, and the first X-ray station in the southern hemisphere, as well as the first tram in Africa. It had a railway link to Lüderitz. The town started to decline after World War II, when the diamond fields slowly started to deplete. By the early 50s, the area was in decline. Hastening the town's demise was the discovery in 1928 of the richest diamond-bearing deposits ever known on the beach of Terraces, 270 kilometers south of Colemans Cape, near the Orange River. Many of the town's inhabitants joined the rush to the south, leaving their homes and possessions behind. The new diamond find merely required scouting the beaches as opposed to more difficult mining. The town was ultimately abandoned in 1956. Colemans Cape is popular with photographers for its setting of the desert sands, reclaiming this unthriving town, and the arid climate preserving the traditional Edwardian architecture in the area. Due to its location within the restricted area of the Namib Desert, tourists need a permit to enter the town. Number 3. Michigan Central Station, Detroit. In the early 1900s, Detroit was a bustling epicenter for factory jobs and industrialization. The city's railroad business was quickly expanding, and the company decided that a much larger depot should be built. By 1910, Michigan Central had purchased 50 acres of property in the Corktown neighborhood outside of downtown Detroit. The station was comprised of a 3-story train depot and an 18-story office tower. The final price for the building was about $2.5 million. Once built and in use, the station inspired awe in all its passengers, but a busy future for the station wasn't meant to be. The railroad industry fell into decline as the government began constructing highways and subsidized inner-city airline traffic. Over the years, railroad companies tried to sell the station, and train lines began to abandon the station because of the upkeep. On January 5, 1988, train number 353 became the last train to leave the station. During the 1990s, the station fell into disrepair and became vulnerable to trespassing and looting. Today, the battle between demolition and restoration continues. Number 4. Underwater City in Shishing, China. Shishang City, which translates to Lion City, was submerged under Qiwandao Lake in China in 1959 during the construction of the Shinan River Hydropower Station. Now that the city, which is approximately 1,400 years old, is underwater, it's protected from erosion by wind, rain, sun, and remains in a relatively stable condition. Today, international archaeologists refer to Shishing City as a time capsule of ancient China. Its arches, gates, and towers are so well preserved that they give archaeologists an almost perfect view of what the city looked like hundreds of years ago. Back then, Shishang City was the center of politics, economics, and culture of Suian County. Number 5. Salta Hotel, Colombia. Situated near a 515-foot waterfall outside Bogota, Colombia, the Hotel del Salto first opened in 1928. It was a building that welcomed many travelers visiting the area. Over the next few decades, the Bogota River became contaminated, and the tourism industry waned. The hotel finally closed in the 1990s and was left abandoned. Some believe the hotel is haunted, mostly because of the prevalence of suicides around the waterfall. In 2012, the hotel was renovated and converted to a museum. Number 6. Abandoned military hospital in Belitz, Germany. This abandoned sanatorium in Belitz, Germany has an eerie past. The German National Insurance Institute constructed the military hospital in 1898 to house tuberculosis patients. Later on, the sanatorium played host to a recuperating Adolf Hitler, who was injured in the 1960 Battle of the Somme during World War I. During the 1920s, the hospital quickly expanded to accommodate thousands of patients. The building was even equipped with a butcher shop, bakery, beer garden, and restaurant. As World War II enveloped the globe, Belitz Sanatorium once again a haven for German military. After the war, the Soviets took control of Belitzhaustatten and used it to treat Soviet soldiers stationed in the area. After the Soviets withdrew in 1994, the building was left empty and abandoned. Number 7. Krakow, Basilicata, Italy. Krakow is an abandoned medieval village located in the region of Basilicata and the province of Matera. Greeks settled the town in 540 AD when they originally moved into the area. After its settlement, a university, prison, and 4 large plazas were constructed. By the town was also subject to various calamities, including plagues, poor agricultural conditions, and earthquakes. Between 1959 and 72, destructive landslides damaged the area and made the town uninhabitable. In 1963, the last 1,800 citizens were transferred to a valley in a different area. Today, the town is empty and abandoned, although it has played the backdrop of films like King David, Quantum of Solace, and The Passion of Christ. Number 8. Sanji Taiwan. In 1978, the Taiwanese government began subsidizing an architectural project that involved building futuristic pods for the rich to use as summer villas. However, the investment capital disappeared in 1980 before the project was completed, and the architecture company went bankrupt. One major reason that Sanji failed was because of its intense local superstitions. Several fatal accidents occurred during construction, and as the number of fatalities increased, the government withdrew its support. Many believe that the land was cursed, and the construction company eventually destroyed all of its records regarding the project. Number 9. Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Between the 9th and 13th centuries, Angkor was the powerful capital of the Khmer Empire in northwestern Cambodia. Armies from Thailand captured the city in 1431, and Angkor citizens fled. Angkor Wat was the city's monastery, and it was built by King Surya Varman II to honor the Hindu gods. However, as Buddhism was prevalent in the surrounding areas, the temple's Hindu decorations were replaced by Buddhist carving, and Angkor Wat became a Buddhist shrine. From its abandonment in 1431 to the late 19th century, Theravada Buddhist monks preserved Angkor. Today, it is known as one of the most important pilgrimage sites in Southeast Asia. Number 10. 1984 Winter Olympics, bobsleigh track in Sarajevo. In 1977, the city of Sarajevo, Bosnia, was chosen as the host city for the 1984 Winter Olympics. That same year, Bosnia proposed the construction of the bobsleigh and luge tracks and by 1982 had completed its construction. During the 1984 Olympics, the track had a total of 30,000 bobsleigh spectators and 20,000 luge spectators. After the Olympics, the track was used by World Cup competitors. In 1991, the Yugoslav wars shook the region, and the siege of Sarajevo caused damage to the track since Bosnian Serb forces used the track as an artillery position. Today, the bobsleigh and luge tracks have fallen into disrepair and have been tagged with graffiti. Have you ever visited any of these abandoned places on Earth? If so, how was your experience? Let us know in the comments below.